All right, we'll go ahead and jump in. My name is Chris Miller. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Alibi Security. And again, I want to thank everybody for their time and joining us this morning. We'll keep this seminar right and tight today. We've got a good crew of folks today joining us who will cover a lot of the technical aspects of our topic today. But specifically, we're going to jump into Alibi Hybrid Cloud. This is one of our latest solutions that we've rolled out. And really what this solves is being able to add cloud backup for traditional security systems. This solution is really part of a portfolio of technology that we offer. As many of you guys and gals may or may not know, as a value-added technology provider, we not only deal with cameras and recorders and all the accessories and the gear that you guys need, but we're always looking forward to find the latest solutions to bring to the market that benefit you as our dealer partners, that enable you to go out and grow your business, right? So as part of that, we brought on multiple cloud solutions. One's Alibi Cloud VS, which we may touch lightly on today or mention in passing when we're talking about cloud. The latest one is this Alibi Hybrid Cloud solution, right? And we'll go into a lot more detail on it, but just know that, as we look at working with our dealer partners, listening to our dealer partners, we're always looking for that next step solution to kind of take our business and your business to the next level and really give you guys more opportunities to grow out in the marketplace. And joining us today, we've got Robbie Thomas, who's our Director of Sales. We've got Bryce Brendan, who's our cloud sales specialist. He's going to be doing a demo for us today. You've got me. And then you got Ellie, and Ellie's with our technology partner, Activate. That's kind of the engine behind our Alibi Hybrid Cloud offering. And we'll talk a lot more about some of the AI-powered functionality and why the solution works well later on in the presentation. You've also got Bill Rogers, who's going to be helping us out with Q&A and kind of jumping in to add any color or anything that we miss along the way. So one real quick housekeeping measure before we jump in. If you have questions along the way, use the Q&A feature. Don't use the chat. We kind of monitor the Q&A feature throughout the webinar. We will address a lot of stuff along the way, so we may not get to your question right at that moment, but it may be covered later in the presentation, and then we'll kind of clean up Q&A with anything that we didn't hit during the main presentation at the very end of the deck. Okay, so Q&A is where you want to ask any questions as we're kind of going through the deck today, guys. All right, well, before we jump into hybrid cloud, being part of the security industry, we all know that there's been tremendous advancements in video security, right? We've watched resolutions go from 720p up to 8 meg 4K relatively quickly. There's been tremendous advancements in that. Channel counts have gone up. Our gear supports everything from 4-channel up to 128 enterprise level solutions. Storage capacity has gone up. Our partners in Seagate, they're continuing to push the limits on how much storage we can get into hard drives and what recorders will support from a manufacturing perspective. Built-in PoE was a game changer in getting power to cameras, right? So, tons of cool technology innovations, including the ability to produce color video for your customers 24/7 with Starlight technology and white light LEDs. A lot of great advancements that we've seen. But one of the places that we've really struggled with in providing customers a really good solution is in cloud backup, right? Along the way, there's been advancements with Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox connectivity built into the recorders. But over time, we've continued to hear from our dealer partners, it's clunky, it's not uber reliable, it's just hard to work with, right? So that, while it was a solution, it wasn't an ideal solution. It wasn't easy to use, right? So as we continue to look at how we take our dealer partners that have a big install base of recorders and cameras on site, what's the right solution in order to give them the ability to provide a cloud aspect to that, right? So they can help their customers have peace of mind that when they have an event that happens and they go to get that video from the recorder, what happened if it happened 3 days ago and the recorder, the hard drive went down yesterday? They may not have access to that footage anymore. So there was a real need to come up with kind of an easy, simple to use and simple to deploy solution that provides customers that have traditional systems with some means of cloud backup. And that's why we came up with Alibi Hybrid Cloud. So from here, I'm going to hand it over to Robbie and Bryce to walk through kind of why hybrid cloud and to go into the demo to give you guys a lot more detail on how this solution works and why it's so powerful.
Thanks, Chris. And I'd like to start by saying, reiterate what Chris had mentioned. Thank y'all for spending the morning with us. It's not lost on any of us that time really is money, and we certainly appreciate each of you choosing to spend a little bit of time with us. Like Chris mentioned, it's not lost on any of us that a large majority of our dealer base still does on-premise recorders. And as you're doing those on-premise recorders, you're out there trying to sort, what does cloud mean to you? What does cloud mean to your customers? How can you utilize the cloud to help your customers? And we would look at a host of different options and work to integrate to them over the last decade. And we really feel like this is a home run for you. So when you think about putting in traditional systems, just like what Chris mentioned, you have fail points. You also have limited analytics in many of the cameras that don't allow you to do quite as much as you'd want. So we went to the drawing board. We partnered with probably one of the leaders in analytic algorithms, and we really come up with a robust solution to where it's super easy for you to deploy. You go out, you put in your install, just like you always do. You don't change a thing. And then you tie on your cloud account, you create an account for your customer, and you tie that recorder to it, and you select the cameras that you want to have being monitored. As you do all that, that setup takes a couple of minutes to deploy, and it does give you an RMR opportunity, all while giving your customer a real benefit. I mean, it's going to do 6 months worth of recording. It's going to record human and cars. So it's really focused on reduction of, leaves blowing and pixel density change that causes motion records on the box. And it's going to give you some key system health monitoring so that you can have notification if you have a problem. And this is really, really a robust, easy to deploy system that just checks boxes so many of your requests. I'm really excited about this when you think about all the jobs that y'all do and all the problems that can come up. This solves a lot of it. And like Chris mentioned, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had a dealer go install a project, that customer not want a service contract. So at that point, the dealer has given that project over to the customer. He's basically handing the keys to the car, and that customer never does playback. They never look at the video and they never do anything. And then you'll go down the road and maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 5 years, but all of a sudden they'll have an event and then they'll go to do playback and they'll realize maybe the hard drives failed. And then they don't have playback. This solves for that. It also solves for some of those more devious kind of deals where small office is robbed, the criminal steals the recorder, or maybe he burns the building down or something pretty out there, trying to cover his tracks. Well, you don't lose any video in the cloud. So it's up there recording all the events that are happening, and they're putting them in the little clips of what's going on for you to have identification and be notified on issues. And so if they steal the recorder, the box is going to, if the cameras are going to a switch, they're going to continue to record. If not, it's going to go, it'll keep all that data up in the cloud for you to go play back and see what happened. So we think this is a pretty big game changer to layer into what you're already doing with really no change to you at all. I mean, you're still doing the exact same thing you've always done. So we've tried to make this as easy and painless as possible. If you'll go to the next slide, the kind of how it works, and then Bryce is going to go into this in detail right after I kind of finish this little spot here. But how this works is we've done a full integration to the recorders. We can do Alibi Vigilant, Alibi Witness. We're agnostic on what kind of camera it is to the recorder because integration is fully done. We grab event-based clips that are stored to the cloud as they're happening. We have notification and monitoring as it's going on. It's really seamless. I mean, I can't stress to y'all how easy this is. And really probably what would be best for me is, Bryce, why don't you kind of take over and do a live demo? I mean, you do so many of these demos every day. Why don't you kind of go in and share your experiences with the dealers, how it works, and kind of go through the process so that it's just not a PowerPoint explanation. You know, it's a little bit more rubber meets the road.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Robbie. And good morning, everybody. I'll be the one that sounds like a broken record and say for the third time, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. We know time is money, so going to do our best to make this a good use of your time. That being said, to Robbie's point, really the value of hybrid cloud is you're selling an insurance policy, right? You're giving your customer peace of mind. You're basically ensuring that, you know, to Robbie's point, a hard drive failure, a fire, a theft, or simply somebody not knowing that their, you know, camera got unplugged until 3 months later, right? All these little silly things that can happen that could cause your customers to actually lose mission critical data. What you're doing is you're just giving them a fail safe. And I think what's really, really important to understand is you're giving them a fail safe. You're not changing anything about what they're doing. You're putting it on what you would already be selling on an Alibi recorder. And then kind of the other piece of that is, yeah, you need to have that data. You need to store it, but it also needs to be easy to access, right? It needs to be put in an environment where, you know, it's extremely simple, not only for you, but for your customers to go and access that if need be. So that's really what I'm going to hit on by showing you the actual software piece here. So you can see here, just kind of jumping in, we don't want to overcomplicate anything here. So every customer that you have, you're going to have a hierarchy for. So you can see here on our test sites, let's say, for example, you have a McDonald's customer, right? Or a franchise customer. So you're going to show McDonald's. Then let's say they have 2 locations underneath that franchise. You can then have location 1, location 2, right underneath your hierarchy. From here, both you and the customer can manage actually multiple locations from one spot. And the really important piece is going to be right here. You're going to actually go and view your events. And this is your insurance policy. So this is what's actually getting stored in the cloud environment for that time frame, that 6-month time frame. And you'll notice right now I've got intruders and I've got vehicles. So what this system is doing is it's constantly looking for people and vehicles right now, and it's going to store it in the cloud for 6 months, kind of as a 1-2 punch in conjunction with what you're already selling in the box itself. So what's great about this is A, it's ultra secure in the sense that it's going to be in the cloud, right? But then B, you know, most people aren't selling 6 months of storage on a hard drive, right? Most people are selling 2 to 4 weeks, whatever it may be. So you're not only going to be giving them kind of a fail-safe 1-2 punch cloud storage, you're also going to be extending out that time frame that they're going to actually have some data to go back and access without having to upsell them a bigger hard drive, right? So you can see here an example of a vehicle detection. So you can see here that the car drives across the road, it tags it for us. And then let's say we want to go, well, wait a minute, what kind of car was that? We can actually click on this alert link right here. And what this will do is actually pull up a frame by frame breakdown of the image. So we can see, okay, what type of car was that? What color was it, right? We can just pull it right up and go access it. So very simple, and you can see the green box around. One thing we can do as well is we can actually classify these detections. So let's say we want to resolve this as a false positive, which is pretty rare on this system, we can do so. Or let's say, okay, yeah, no, that was an intruder. And then we can actually assess at a threat level and put some notes in so that when we go back and reference that, whether it's us or somebody else that's on the system, they can go and see, okay, here's here's what happened. Here's some notes according to, what the last guy saw, right? So again, the big common theme here is easy. We want it to be easy. And one thing we can do as well to kind of make it, again, easy is we can dramatically reduce the number of detections that you're going to be getting and really cut down on false positives by using a feature what we call ignore zones. So if I pull up our camera list here, we can actually tell the camera not only certain areas to ignore, but certain types of detections to ignore. So if I go to cameras, let's go to customer sites. So let's say, for example, on Robbie's MVR, he's got a busy street in front on his driveway camera, right? Let's say Robbie's getting pinged all day long for cars driving in front of his house, and he doesn't necessarily want those detections. So we can pull up his driveway camera here. We can go to ignore zones. And then right here, what I can do is I can actually choose to ignore entire zones of motion, or again, I can get more granular if I would like to. So I could say, okay, I want to ignore vehicles specifically, and I'm going to ignore them on the street, right? So I can come in here, draw my area on the street. So now what I've done is I've actually just made it so that I will still get notified of people in the street, but not vehicles, right? So if you kind of think about how complex your environment can be and how hard it is to really get an accurate analytic tag a lot of the time, I know that's a really big pain point I talk about a lot with a lot of our dealer partners. This is really going to help you cut down on a lot of kind of the junk footage that you don't care about. And then when your customer or yourself go back and actually look at this data stored in the cloud, this should be very, very applicable footage. And I'll have Ellie, our engineering partner, kind of hit on this a little bit later as well. These analytic tags are very, very accurate, very impressive. So kind of the main point of all of this is just putting it all in a very secure environment, making it extremely simple to go back and tag, and dramatically cutting down the number of tags that you don't care about, right? The false positives. And I'll go ahead and throw it back to you, Chris.
All right, can you guys see my screen again? Excellent. All right, so
Flip it around. You're on the display settings and swap.
hold on.
Be like, you wouldn't
Oh,
believe
there
we
we
do
go.
Zoom webinars all the time.
Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay, shows the wrong screen. Yeah, so just to reiterate what Bryce was saying, right? So works on all Alibi, Witness, Vigilant recorders. We can integrate with Hike Vision recorders as well. New or existing installs, right? So we look at this as a really powerful tool to grow your base or grow your revenue. And again, it's recurring monthly revenue. This is a subscription-based program. When you think about all the people that you've gone and you sold traditional systems into, if any of those customers have ever expressed concern about, well, what happens if my hard drive goes out? What happens if the NIC card in my recorder goes down? What happens if? This is a great opportunity to go back and remarket to those people a solution that will give them additional peace of mind, right? And per Bryce's note before, most of the time you guys are selling like 30 days of recorder storage anyway, right? This expands that 6 times, right? It's 180 days. So there's a 6-month security blanket that you're giving to your customers that if they need something that's an event-based that we capture, it's going to be there, right? And then again, when we think about you growing your business, we're always looking for the opportunities to help you guys generate more RMR. You know, it's nice to get that mailbox money month after month once you get these subscriptions nailed down, right? And then here, I think this is the perfect opportunity for Ellie to jump in and talk a little bit more about the built-in analytics, because as we've talked about before, with all the advancements in security gear and the hardware side of things, we've had some false starts with AI driven powered cameras that maybe didn't work quite as well, right? They were advertised as reducing false alarms by 95%, but when the rubber met the road, they just didn't perform as well as we would have liked, right? So we EOL them, we discontinue them because you know what, the dealer feedback was that they don't do what they say they're going to do. Well, this solution does what it says it's going to do, right? And there's a huge software engine. Our partners that actually, they're a software first company. So they spent thousands, tens of thousands of hours looking at how to build this AI powered analytics to reduce those false positives. And I'll let Ellie jump in and just give a little bit more background on how you guys built this and why it works so well. Ellie, I think that's really important for our dealer partners to understand.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for the opportunity to be here and present it. And thanks everyone for joining us today. Like Bryce mentioned, we have a very accurate and that we have an accurate engine, the ability to reduce false positives. And we're breaking it down into two. Like Chris mentioned, we're a software first company. That's what we do. That's our core business. We have a team of data scientists. We have a team of software engineers, and they're focused on doing those things. When talking about false positive reduction, I break it down into two. The first is the actual engine. We're running out of the cloud, which gives us a lot of resources, because let's say if you buy a GPU and put it on site, it starts to get all of this the second you put it on site. But with us running on the cloud, we keep getting the best GPUs, the best power, compute power, and we can edit on the fly, because that's how the cloud works. And besides the fact that we have a lot of compute power we can use, we also keep training the AI all the time. So we keep training the engine, we keep building new models, we keep revisiting old models. In addition, one of the tools that Bryce showed you that you can tag false positive, we take those false positive, our data science team take those false positive and retrain the AI to ignore them the next time. So when you think about it, it's a few different levels. We know how to filter out all those motions that are not people or vehicle, and then we retrain the AI on continuous basis. It's like almost on daily basis. And on top of this, we're giving you the tool that Bryce mentioned, the ignore zone by label and ignore zone and ignore motion. Those tools are really useful to give you as a user or your users actually the ability to filter out stuff that they think that it's not needed. It's something that for me look like a true positive could be a, I want to ignore it for the end users. And on top of this, you can also, Bryce and us and the team has the ability to be even more granular. And in case of edge cases, we have even more configuration we can do on the back end to reduce those false positives even further.
Yeah, I think, when you talk about the cloud, Ellie, important thing for people to realize is that your team's using all the data you get from all your customers to aggregate that into building a smarter analytics engine over time, right? It's not just every Alibi deployment, right? Other deployments you guys are using all those data points to go, yeah, that's a false positive. We need to figure out how we get better at recognizing that wasn't an accurate detection, right? So as they've used this data up in the cloud, it's allowed them to really just get more granular and more accurate over time, and they will continue to improve, right? You go, well, they're 95% now. Well, their goal is to get to 99.999%, right? Over time, right? But 95% is kind of a benchmark right now, and we found this to be truly accurate and, more importantly, customizable to Ellie and Bryce's point about being able to really specify what parts of that field of view are really important for the customers to enable that detection. So thanks for that, Ellie. We appreciate that. That's great background.
Thank you.
All right. So one thing I want to cover here is as part of our Alibi Hybrid Cloud solution, before we allow our dealer partners to sell this, we really recommend people get certified. And certification is really just, it's a simple 5-10 minute process. We just ask you to talk to our cloud specialist, get familiar with the solution, ask any questions. Then you become an official Alibi certified dealer. And what that gives you is priority for any Alibi Hybrid Cloud consumer leads that we generate, right? We've got marketing tools and assets all over the web right now, looking for people who are looking for hybrid types of solutions in local markets. When we get those leads, if you're an Alibi Hybrid Cloud certified dealer, you're going to be in that queue to get those calls. You get access to Bryce. Bryce is not only here to answer your questions. As you become familiar with the demo or the hybrid cloud solution, he is here to support you with demos to your end users as well, right? He is super knowledgeable. He knows how to get around the platform really easy. He is your support team here at Alibi to help you guys win jobs with Alibi Hybrid Cloud. Also, it gives you access to a plethora of marketing materials. We've got a ton of marketing materials we stood up that can be branded for your business to market Alibi Hybrid Cloud. Those are all accessible once you become an Alibi certified cloud dealer. And then we've got microsites that we also give you access to that you can attach to your current website that give you a link to a microsite that will help you market Alibi Hybrid Cloud. And again, certification is not a long process, right? We want to enable a conversation. We want to make sure you're comfortable with it. And then we turn you on in the system as a certified dealer and get you going, right? It's super fast, easy, and more importantly, free. Everybody loves free, right? Robbie, why don't you talk about the introductory offer that we have for folks out there?
Part of the thing that we always think about when we launch a new product is customer adoption and helping entice their customers to want to go forward. So what we're doing right now is through April 30th, any of your locations that you set up, you get up to 4 free cameras for that first 30 days, free. So think about it as any other introductory offer you may see from a host of different verticals where they want to entice someone to try it, use it, and adopt it. And we're doing the same thing. We think this is a great opportunity for you to do those choke point cameras that are just mission critical, while it's also kind of giving you that health monitoring safety net. And I hope that this helps you go out and win more business as you're out there doing your day-to-day selling and helping your customers. If you have any questions, kind of like Chris mentioned, all you have to do is call and ask us, and we'll help you knock down any barrier. Chris, what am I missing?
No, I just want to reiterate that it's such a logical upsell when you're on a customer site and you're pitching a traditional system to them. It just makes sense to ask the probing questions about how important it is that they have footage available when they need it, right? And everybody go, oh, it's fine. We got a hard drive. That'll be fine. Yeah, but what if? What if? And you never want to think about the what ifs until they actually happen, right? Then it becomes, we get these calls into our technical support team all the time. We had an issue. We had an event happen on our property. We need to know how to get the footage off, right? Well, those types of calls can go sideways really, really quick if something's not going on where the unit's not operating properly. When you're talking about selling traditional units, this is such a logical upsell. It's super easy, super simple, okay? Then from a Q&A perspective, I think we answered most of the Q&As. Robbie's going to answer the one about 4 free cameras right now.
Yeah, so the question was just asked, for how long are these four cameras recording for free to the cloud? So when you sign up a customer, you'll get up to 4 free cameras for free for the first 30 days.
The cameras aren't free, the subscriptions are free.
Right, correct. The subscriptions are free. And then after that, you would move into a traditional subscription RMR model. But we keep the video in the cloud for 6 months before it recycles through. So you have a very long time. Most of our dealers, what we've been seeing most of them do or have the most success with, versus selling it in a monthly and then having to do the monthly billing, they'll just do an annual subscription, kind of like a virus program, a software to where it's like you have a monthly cost or you have the annual cost. We've seen, I don't know, Bryce, what's the percentage, like 80? It's a large majority of our integrators are selling things in an annual subscription model, and then we keep the video rolling for 6 months up in the cloud.
Yeah, we're at over a 70% split right now on annual versus monthly for our cloud services. I think it's easier for everybody, less payments, and everybody likes a little break on it too, right?
Great question on what's the frame limit right now? and what's the resolution. So right now, by default, we're gonna look at what the substream does, and the frame limit, it could go down and be just as accurate at 3 frames as it would be at 30 frames. And then we have it on the substream right now. So whatever your camera will do on the substream, typically 1080 1.3 is kind of the max of the substream. That said, there are ways. That said, we can do higher resolutions, but when we think about easy to deploy and we want to think about the U.S. market as a whole, the higher the resolution, the more bandwidth your ISP provider will need to have in that location. So there's always considerations that we would want to talk through if you were trying to do a special use case where you were trying to get higher resolution and higher frames, just to make sure we set you up for success. And that's really where Bryce comes in the most, as not only does he help you understand how to use it, but he sets you up for success on anything that you may not always run into or consider, because cloud may be newer to your company. So,
Okay, great question though. All right, I think that's all the Q&As we have right now. So if you want additional information, call us. That's the bottom line. We're always available. We've got a sales support team. We got Bryce as our cloud specialist. We're happy to answer any additional questions that you guys may have, right? We always like to finish with this. Our YouTube channel is a wealth of information, right? We've got how-to videos. We got tips and tricks. Over 250 videos. We're producing new videos almost every week that we're posting out there. Make sure you guys go out and subscribe to that. Hit the little notification bell. That way you get alerted when we post new videos. We've got some great Alibi Hybrid Cloud kind of marketing videos out there as well that you guys can use to show to your customers. Again, it's great for training up your techs. They're typically fairly short videos. If you guys are on site, have issues, typically you can find the answer and you'll watch a less than 10-minute video to get the answers, right? We got a great video team producing great content. We really encourage you guys to do that. More importantly, thank you for the time. Everybody's time is super valuable. We get it. We know you guys could be out selling, you guys could be out quoting, you guys could be out doing a million different things besides spending time with us. So we greatly value your time and your participation today. And make sure you go to the continuing education link at the bottom of our website to check out our upcoming webinars as well. We've got some really great Alibi Cloud VS webinars coming up where we'll talk about some specific industry verticals. But more importantly, we're going to continue to get great education and content out there for you guys. So we're empowering you guys with new solutions and new material for you guys to go out and grow your business. So thanks to everybody for participating. Appreciate the Alibi Security team. Ellie, thanks for showing up today, buddy. We appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.